Hello again, friends. We're on Highway 101 right at the Elwha River on the east side, and we're looking at the construction site for the new Elwha River Highway Bridge that is now being constructed. I'm going to walk down the shoulder here and we'll try to show you how this works. The new bridge is going to run just to the north of the old one that was built back in the 1930s, that it had to be replaced because of the problem they had with the foundation of the thing not being on any bedrock, just on gravel. So if you can see over there where the crane is, that's where the new bridge is. And over those trailers you might be able to see in the distance the old bridge where the traffic is traveling. All the girders were installed a couple of months ago, and now they're just up there preparing all of the deck. We're going to take a trip on the Olympic Hot Springs Road on the bike here in just a minute. That gives you a good view in the distance past all the construction workers and the trailers there of the actual new bridge that spans the Elwha. This is right at the Olympic Hot Springs Road. That down there's the old bridge, and then where the wooden railings are up there on the beams, that's where the new bridge is going in. I'm just looking at the Department of Transportation's website as the Washington Department of Transportation replacing the US 101 Elwha River Bridge after serving the community for nearly a century. Replacing the bridge will ensure that the US 101 route will continue to be a reliable transportation facility for decades to come. And this state website says the new bridge will be 40 feet wide and accommodate two 12-foot lanes with two 8-foot shoulders. The current bridge is 28 feet wide, so the new bridge is actually 12 feet wider. This wider bridge will create a more comfortable crossing for travelers and provide adequate shoulder room for bicyclists and pedestrians. Additionally, the new alignment with the US 101 Olympic Hot Springs Road will have a more gentle curvature with a high design speed of 35 miles an hour at the end of the bridge. Right now, as you can see from this warning sign, is you got to do this curve at 25 miles an hour without risking wiping out. The timeline, this all got started in April of last year, 2023. It runs till December 2024. There's a $36 million funding for the bridge. They've been at work on this since last April 17th. They've cleared the area, built the access roads, and the piers have been built, the girders have been set, and the crews will next build out the bridge deck and the abutment walls. Towards the end of the bridge construction, likely the middle of this year, 2024, US DOT will have to close 101 for 9 days to allow crews to complete the tie-ins and final paving. During this brief closure, travelers will detour using state routes 112 and 113. It's a little overview of that bridge construction project that's going on right now at this very spot. Busy place, hard hat area. So what we're doing today is going up the Olympic Hot Springs Road, because we haven't been up this way since the last high water event, which was last year sometime. I can't remember. There's a real steady, I want to call it drizzle, but it's not. It's a little heavier than that. And it started right when we headed out of town. Port Angeles folks don't realize how lucky they are not to get a lot of rain, as a lot of times it'll be pouring down rain just to the west of town. So we go up the Olympic Hot Springs Road, and 2 miles ahead will be a closure of the road at the gates at the park boundary, because the Elwha Road, or this Olympic Hot Springs Road as they call it, is washed out about a mile past the what they call the Madison Falls trailhead. And I know we've done this video a lot, but I just want to get this background information to those watching for the first time. Up this road is the site of the former Glines Canyon Dam, the upper dam on the Elwha, out of the two dams that were removed back in the 2010s, the early 2010s. So it's been about 10 years now since the river's been flowing freely over here. On our right, Elwha River is on our right. We're not going to see it right away. Some little side channels and quite a few residences here on this first part of the road. The site of the Elwha gauging station here on the right coming up. It's where the river elevation is measured every hour. U.S. Geological Survey. I'll stop for a moment here. Little cable car goes across to the other side, and that is where the meter comes down, measures the water, and then it looks like there's a satellite antenna that transmits that data. I can go down here real quick. All right, we're now approaching the park boundary. We're 2 miles up the road now. Madison Falls Trailhead. Packed parking in the summertime. Not so much this time of year. Looks like it might be clearing off a little bit. I'm going to tilt this up just a bit. This is a rather large tree here, an old cedar. I don't know why, but I wouldn't park near that. It seems to me that that keeps tilting a little bit this way each time I come by, a little bit more. Right through the gate here, or the side of the gate anyway, where cars can't go, bicyclists and pedestrians and hikers can. I think they call this Sweets Field, if I remember right. So this is where the Olympic National Park pack train mules are camped in the summertime. In the winter, which is now, they are down in pasture land in Sequim. I can remember they made the headlines a few years back. Somebody opened the gate and they trotted out and were running down the streets of Sequim in the rural areas before they were tracked down and sent back to their pasture. Okay, so the official bypass trail goes to the left up into the brush right here. Goes very steeply up by the Cascade Rock Trail, and then parallels along the river here and comes out maybe a half mile down below, or up above, I guess, if we're counting, we're traveling upstream. We usually go down here. This is recommended not to be traveled through because it's got a bank that can wash away, and it is kind of dangerous if the water is high. So if you're just out for a walk and you're not a very experienced hiker, I'd recommend taking that high trail. We're going along here where the main channel pretty much of the Elwha is now. That didn't used to be the case. It was almost always empty, and they called it the Rock Garden, did the locals. So we're now about 3 miles from the highway. This is really quite gorgeous here. There was a bridge here once, a temporary one, but it was removed. I had it here for a while, and then the road washed out further down to the south here. And since then they've had those out, because you can actually see water traveling over the roadway up ahead where there's those pile of logs in the distance. You can see a stream actually crossing the road. I'll turn these lights off here. I'm just wasting energy on those. There you go. There's a trail that goes along the east bank of the river, and that's the way we'll go. A lot of water in here today. I can remember there used to be a little stream that would come right out of there, but it looks like all the sediment has been pushed up in there and closed that one off. And now the side channel that used to go to the west of the old amphitheater at the Elwha campground is coming through that one. So the old channel that's over there, over in that area there, the farthest to the right, that's hardly got any water in it now. The main stream is this one, which used to be empty. It just shows you the power of the Elwha. Gorgeous view. I just changed batteries as I've arrived here on the south side of the washout. All this sediment, all that sand has come in from the river. I don't see what purpose it is to try to go any closer than that, other than get my feet really muddy. So let's get back on our bike and head up towards the spillway. Elwha Ranger Station. I don't think we've ever done this in the video, but we're actually right in here to show you these buildings. So let's do that. Gas pump. It dates from the 1930s. So if you're familiar with Hurricane Ridge, the road that goes from Port Angeles up to Hurricane Ridge now wasn't always the way to go up there. In 1958, I believe it was, they opened that road that comes up through the tunnels from Port Angeles. But before that time, and I'm trying to remember when they built these roads here, but I think it was in the 1930s. But you turn left here, go to Whiskey Bend, and then the road to Hurricane Ridge used to snake uphill from there, which is now called the Wolf Creek Trail. We have one of those, a hike between Hurricane Ridge and Whiskey Bend. It's a long 8 miles. It's you can't even tell it was a road now. It's overgrown and a long hike. I made the mistake of doing that once. I decided I'd park up at the top and walk down to Whiskey Bend and then go back up. That was a long last few miles. In a total of 16 on a day hike. And then another hike I've also done and did last year, I came down from Hurricane Hill down to a trailhead, which is just up there, up the Whiskey Bend Road, maybe 300 yards at the most. A little trailhead for that. And that comes down. Man, I'll tell you, was that a tough one. And I was going downhill. It was so steep. I was wearing shoes that were too small for me. I've since gone up a half size of shoe because of that. And because of that hike, it's so steep and pushing on my toenails. I lost like 3 toenails on that one hike. It didn't happen all at once, but So we're about to the end of this straight stretch here, and well, I've told this story before, but I was coming up here. I just met some people that I knew, and back there by the ranger station, talked to them. They were with their dog, and I said, well, did you see any wildlife? And they said, no, but the dog went wild up back there a little bit. So I walked up here, and I got right about here, and I looked ahead on that bridge, and there was some sort of animal on the bridge. And I thought, they said there's nothing up here. And then I looked again, and I went, oh God, that's a cougar. What I should have done, you know how that goes, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I didn't switch lenses on my camera, so I didn't get a picture. Well, the cougar, as I was back there, it turned, look, it couldn't see, that it couldn't go back, so he ran from halfway in the middle of the bridge here to the end, right here where the reflector marker is, and then he flew up this bank right here, up that, and it was gone in like 10 seconds, if even that long. So you never know what you're going to see up here. Most of the time it's going to be deer. Let me turn around real quick and get a view of the side there. Yeah. You can see down here to the left, those fir needles pile up where the water's running down the road. That's extremely treacherous. I was back there by the ranger station one time, walking with my full pack and my poles, and I went to turn and look behind me, and I slipped on one of those piles of mud, and because I was turned around to the side, I had nothing to stop my fall. So crash, I go onto the road. I didn't try to stop my fall with my hand, because all I would have done is broken my arm or something. So I just let my whole body take the blow, but the trekking pole was under my arm, so I had a pretty good bruise on my arm. Hurt bad enough that I went and got x-rayed, and it was not broken, but it was bruised pretty good on the bone, and it took a while to feel better, but I didn't break my arm or anything. Guy was walking behind me, and he runs up. He almost gets to me, and I finally get myself on my knees and he said, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." That's more wounded pride than anything else. So now we make a wide turn and go back to the west for a little bit, because the Elwha takes a couple of curves before it comes down from where the Glines Canyon Dam was. So we're going around almost a hairpin right here. I always try to take a hairpin curve at the farthest out. So I've got the most vision around the corner as I can, just in case there's a bear or something on the road around the corner. So I've got just a little bit more notice before walking into it. Yeah, this slippery here with all this organic stuff on the road. I've come on down here before, or on the way up stream, and had some elk down below to the left here off of the road. And when they heard me here walking, they hightailed it out of here that way to the direction I'm going, because they were intelligent enough to figure out that if I was on this road, I could circle around here and get in front of them. But they knew that was a possibility, so they got the hell out of there. Oh, we got a tree in the road. Okay. Well, we'll have to stop. It shouldn't be difficult to get over it. Out there on the outside to the left. Yeah. All right, let's come to a stop. You can hear that clicking. I'm wearing clips on my pedals. They call them SBD, speed plate clips. Okay, get me up over here now. There we are. That was a tall one. The trees come down all the time here. Just up ahead here, a couple of years back, somebody was riding a bicycle along and they actually got hit by a falling tree. They were hurt pretty badly. Somehow, I think somebody came along and helped the guy call for an airlift, and the rangers, they came and got him. But gosh, talk about incredibly bad luck to get hit by the tree. But he just, it's like hit the back of his bike or something and didn't totally squash him. So he survived. Excuse me for all the sniffing and the heavy breathing. But I'm breathing right down into the microphone. It's on my chest mount. Hey, a couple of deer. Let's definitely get down into the lower ring here. This last part on the way to the spillway is pretty steep. That road on the left went down, I believe, down to the old penstock for the Glines Canyon Dam. A little bit of sun. Now on to a little bit of a gravel section here. Place where the road's slumped. A couple of feet there. All the way to the bottom, lowest gear. Looks like there might be another tree ahead on the road that's down. That's an old one. Almost to the top. The road takes a big hairpin here, goes uphill to the north, starts climbing up to the hot springs past here. But now we break out into the open at the old Glines Canyon Dam site. They call it the Glines Canyon Overlook. Now you may see a restroom here, but it's locked. They don't have any way of emptying it, so it's all locked up. So don't plan on using it when you come up here. Bring trowel and toilet paper. And what they did is they just cut out the section in the middle. They left the far side there, and this is the old spillway setup. And there's like 4 chutes here, 4 or 5 anyway, and the water would drain out of there from here on the lake side. And so the lake water came up right here to the edge of the piers. And there's nobody here as far as I can tell right now. Some interpretive signs. I have an old video to where I focus on these pictures, and you can read them at your leisure on that video. Excuse me. So they started removing this dam on September 15th, 2011. August 26th, 2014. Almost 10 years ago, the last 30 feet of the dam were removed. 21 million cubic yards of sediment. So we're up here at the spillway. The spillway released water from the reservoir. Water entered through the intake, which was right out here, just down in here. And then the head gate shut off water to the system. A penstock carried water to the powerhouse. Surge tank absorbed excess water pressure during the emergency shutdowns. The substation converted the electricity to a higher voltage. In the powerhouse, the water spun the turbine to generate electricity, and the water re-entered the river through the tail race here, down below there, where one of those roads went. So thanks for taking a trip to Glines Canyon Spillway in Olympic National Park today with me. Always a pleasure to hear your comments, and thank you so much for your subscriptions to this channel. And until next time, so long.